Hello all, welcome to my video. In this particular video, I'm actually going to talk about an important topic, and I am going to use my own LinkedIn article to actually socialize you this. Okay, see now this is a video wherein I am going to tell you something which is very pragmatic, something which is very closer to the real time ground level reality, right? So when you go for some kind of an interviews pertaining to project manager, program manager, delivery manager kind of roles, nowadays no one is actually looking out for a vanilla project management, right? So you may need to have a domain knowledge. You may need to also possess some kind of a functional SME kind of a capability. Okay, well, what did I meant by functional SME kind of a capability? Means you should have that experience, you should have that expertise, is saying that you have implemented project management in data science projects, in cloud migration projects, and data warehousing projects. Okay, I'm just giving an example here. So let's one by one. I'm now going to toggle to my LinkedIn article, and then I'm just going to explain you why even PMP certified people used to fail multiple times of no used to fail either the client interview or your second round of interview, third round of interview. Some of the people are able to make up to the final round but not able to touch the finish line, right? So let us do one by one. In this particular article, I have mentioned that particular experience. No, so the problem was not with communication, the problem was not with the delivery expertise capability. The real problem was a data literacy. Because here in this particular LinkedIn article, let's say I'm going to take a data oriented project. It could be like data analytics kind of a program wherein you may need to know some of the terms, right? Data engineering, data warehousing. What do you mean by a data lake? What do you mean by a ETL pipeline? Okay, how does a reporting ecosystem work together? What do you mean by a business intelligence platform? What do you mean by a data product? So these basic nitty-gritties and nuances you may need to be cognizant of. If not, it will be very difficult to clear the interviews as of 2026 when I'm actually making this particular video, right? So okay, now if you click on this particular article, here I have actually embedded my LinkedIn article as part of this particular LinkedIn post. Now if you click, now if you click on this particular article, you can see the detailed one what I have written. Okay, so I will be sharing the link. I will be sharing the link of all these things in the WhatsApp, in the YouTube description when I'm going to upload this particular video. But all that I'm trying to say is, it is not enough if you have just a vanilla delivery management capabilities, right? So let us go through this. So one of the PMP certified person who has handled umpteen projects over a period of 20 years of experience, or rather 20 plus years of experience, was unable to clear the interview because he was already strong in project management, delivery governance, risk management, agile execution, but he does not have the literacy to present himself like in a convincing manner when it comes to data related projects. By the way, let me put a caveat here. I'm just giving you one specific example. It could be a CRM project, it could be an SAP project, it could be a Siebel project. The context matters a lot. Okay, so here I'm just trying to deep dive into it. So here I have mentioned it here. See, because organizations are no longer invested only, or no longer investing only in software development projects. They are investing heavily in cloud infrastructure, data engineering, cloud data modernization. Even if you take myself, right, for the past 4 to 5 years, I am predominantly working on cloud data migration and cloud modernization projects. So definitely you need to know the basics, okay? Because if you are making a conversation with your team members, it is very difficult to gain respect from them if you don't speak the vocabulary of the team. Because if you are going and talking to your architect, your technical lead, your solution consultant, you should be having the basic thing like, okay, what do you mean by a data source? how does a ETL pipeline look like? What is the difference between a data lake or a lake house or a warehouse? What do you mean by a BI platform, right? So basically, from a reporting point of view, it could be a Power BI or it could be a Tableau kind of a thing. So you need to know these particular basics. Right now, what we'll do is, from my experience, I'll just give one or two quick lines of explanation of these particular terms, and then probably we can go from there. If you're taking data engineering, right, it is the discipline of designing, building, and maintaining systems which is going to collect some data, process the data, and then deliver the data for your analytics and the AI. If you are talking about data warehousing, it is the practice of consolidating a structured historical data, potentially from multiple sources, for reporting and the business analysis. So all that I'm trying to say is, little bit go deep dive into the tech stack, little bit understand the high level architecture of the project. What are the components? How does the interaction happens? Is there any third party interfaces involved? Was it a synchronous communication or an asynchronous communication? Was it a unidirectional or a bidirectional communication? What is the requirement? Is it enough only if I test it functionally, or do I need to do anything like a non-functional requirements? What are the checks and balances? What are the milestones of the project? So you should also know how to quickly create an SOW from an RFP document, because in a service based industry we still have RFP and a SOW, typically at an engagement or at a program level. So you still need to know all these concepts. That is what I'm trying to tell, so that you create a differentiator, you create a unique selling proposition. If not, no, you will be one among the masses or the crowd. There are so many PMP certified guys. In fact, in market there are so many PGMP certified guys which are coming up on the uh, no the horizon. Gone are the days people give us jobs only based on your certification. Yes, certification is important to get the interview call, but not to get an offer letter, right? So read through this particular article and take this article as an example. Just because I have written an article for a data related engagement doesn't mean that you will confine yourself only to data related engagements, right? This is just a sample. Depending on your application, it could be a CRM product. Then you may need to get into the nitty gritties of what is a CRM, how does it operate, what is the upstream and the downstream, the downstream systems, what are the assumptions, dependencies, limitations, and constraints. Everything you may need to know. So here I have put a line saying, a delivery manager who cannot speak the language of the data, a program manager who does not understand analytics, a PMO lead unfamiliar with the data governance, a transformation leader who cannot discuss data platforms. All of them face an uphill battle. Even myself, somewhere in 2019-20, I had this particular challenge. Let me be very candid with you people. I had this challenge in 2019-20. Then I sat down and then I did a self introspection. And then I started, at least, see, people say that you need to have practical knowledge. Agreed. But not all of us will get the luxury of life to have a practical knowledge on all these things. Somewhere the journey need to begin. At least start with the theory part of it, because in the name of a perfection, if you are waiting for the perfect moment to happen, it is not going to happen. You need to make the existing moment to become perfect over a period of time. There's nothing called a perfect moment, right? So instead of waiting for the right opportunity, we need to take some steps and measures on a daily basis to equip ourselves with the right mindset, the skill set, and the capabilities needed to build a bright future for us. That is a better way to approach the particular situation. So here I'm just sharing one of the experience of my mentee in my agile mentorship program. When that person came to me, that person was not having any kind of a literacy on data program, but that person was extremely good in core project management and program management concepts, both in agile, waterfall, and also hybrid approaches. Because typically in a real-time engagement, most of the projects do operate in a hybrid model. It will be a plan-driven approach predominantly at an engagement level. However, an agile based or an adaptive approach is typically at a sprint or at an iteration level, right? So just go through these things, understand see, whenever a JD is given, right, you need to know why the JD exists in the first place. What problems are we trying to solve by hiring a person who has the mindset and the skill set needed, what has been mentioned in the JD. Sometimes it may also happen that the JD may be irrelevant. When you join a company, you may be put in some other project, but that is a different game plan altogether. That is a different scenario altogether, which is not in your circle of influence. Let us talk about things which are there in our circle of influence, right? So here I'm just giving you, okay, so when I was giving some coaching and mentoring to that particular person, I was actually giving him some case studies on cloud data modernization, and then we were bouncing our thoughts on data migration challenges, what could be the reporting transformation initiative, what could be the data governance implementation. Then over a period of time, that person was able to clear the interviews. So my say is, let's not, because you are a project manager, because you are a delivery manager, doesn't mean that you will just get confined into the small circle of a delivery. Absolutely no. You need to talk to your technical leads. You need to talk to your architect. Understand what these people are discussing in the meetings. Get into the details. Shallow knowledge will not help us. The devil is in the details. So get into the details. Then over a period of time, you can command the show, both inside your company, both outside the company, right? So just take some time, go through this particular articles, and then if you wanted to connect with me for a one-on-one quick call to actually bounce your thoughts, or you just wanted to discuss with me on any possibility to join my mentorship program, then by all means you are welcome. So when you're going through this article, also go through the comments given by other people who had who have already went through the article. It will expand your horizons of thinking. Okay, so let me take a pause here. Hope to see you in some other video soon. Cheers, bye.